Okay, we are live. Yes, here we are.
I'm alive.
I'm way alive as far as I know. Welcome everybody. Of course, a different kind of look here. We got a guy missing right now, and best of luck, of course, to Mr. Ivan
Woo!
C.
Woo!
Wherever he may be. Yes, of course. Um, but here I am, of course, with the man, the myth, the guitar god himself, Mr. Chris Kennedy from Fate Destroyed. Sir, how are you doing today?
Don't call yourself a gamer if you don't come home from Dave and Buster's with swag. So, looking for that sponsorship.
Exactly. I still have my little card. I have to fill that up again. Let's see. Yes, sir. Championship on the line. Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you guys. Yeah. And of course I am Mr. Mike Lopez, the most violent podcaster, the king of sting, the reflection of perfection, the count of Monte Cristo, all of the above.
I just read the entire Wikipedia on that because I didn't want to read the book.
Nice. But yes, so here we go. Let's get started with some AEW. Come on. What tell me, please, what did you think about Dynamite? Things that are unraveling, the webs of everything going on. The plot thickens.
Um, I'd have to ask you which plot thickened a little bit more for this particular Dynamite, because this was a passing episode. I think it's coming off the heels of Revolution. We already had the results of that falling out. And this was a little bit of a lull in storyline progress for me. Okay. There were a few storylines that were teased, very subtle. I don't know if we're going to jump ahead. We just kind of go around. But the Julia Hart thing had some movement to it where she might be leaving the Hollywood Blondes, I believe is what they're called.
Yes.
Rick Harrison and Brian Pillman Jr., where she has the iPad.
No, Varsity Blondes.
Well, Hollywood Blondes was Brian Pillman Sr. with Steve Austin, so there is a homage there. But she, got the poison mist to the eye from Malachi Black and has the eye patch, and she was sitting in the corner pouting during the match, not paying attention, not really caring if they won or lost. I definitely think she's going to the House of Black. That would be pretty cool. Maybe do like an Alexa Bliss character. I hate that I had to say that, but that kind of seems like where they're going with that,
Well, yeah. I told my girlfriend, this is her demeanor is very Alexa Bliss like, and she was just sitting there, and honestly, I thought that she was gonna get up during William Regal's promo or during that thing going on, and she was gonna try to join them. But I don't think the internet.
I thought that would be pretty cool too. So we have, pun intended, not to be sexist, because she does have the cheerleader gimmick. She would be the cheerleader.
Right. But I don't know how people would react to her getting slapped by William Regal on TV. I don't.
No. ABC. She would stop the slap and hit him. That would send it over the moon. That would be damn. Plus, she's I don't think she's officially like a Hart from the Hart family, but she does have the Hart name. So there's a little bit of that, like the Andersons, like C.W. Anderson, the guy from the Good Brothers. They're not technically Andersons, but it's a name that they've earned and passed down to them. So maybe they could run with that a little bit because, Brian Danielson's a huge Hart family fan. And, so that is the most movement of storyline that I had seen. I have, obviously the results pulled up. There was other things that happened, but that was the one where it's like turning the page on something. Everything else kind of just was on the page, but this was actually a flip of the page for me.
I guess I was a bit generous in the description of Dynamite overall, but I feel like I'm more intrigued in the Wardlow MJF story more so than I was last week.
Right.
And I guess those segments of having security guards and separation and stuff, I guess it does what it needs to. It kind of makes me want to finally see those two go at it, right? So I guess that served its purpose. But to say that it really moved the storyline, I guess you're right in that regard. But How did you take that segment?
Well, the context of that is I really like, and this will make sense once I tie it together to the Max segment. I like that you start with a match on Dynamite. Obviously, we know that Raw traditionally starts for the past 30 years. Somebody comes out, they give a 20-minute speech, sets up the night, and then the first match is usually like a really short 2-minute, somebody jobs out to somebody, and then, you go on to the rest of the show. Dynamite always starts with premier wrestlers giving a 6 to 7 minute, what I call 3-star TV match, 4-star TV match. It's not the same scale I use for pay-per-views, but obviously these matches have no right being this good on free TV, or I guess cable for some of you out there. So seeing Dax Harwood in a singles match, holding his own against CM Punk in a match that told a story. What's up, Matthew?
He's here. Let him in.
I'm here. Your volume is so low.
Mm-hmm.
That's even worse. Now you're muted. Nope.
No. Yeah.
There we go.
There it is.
I guess the other link wasn't working. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that one got fixed, but I'm here.
Cool. What I'm saying about how quickly we get to quality wrestling at the beginning of Dynamite, we don't get a whole lot of segments. We don't get a lot of character angles, but when we do, they matter, and we reserve them for people that can say the most with those segments. They're not just on the mic bullshitting or awkward, or we don't care. Like, it's almost always, with the inclusion now of Regal, who's now doing some speeches, but it's almost always MJF and it's almost always Britt Baker who get those longer non-wrestling mic time segments, which I love. It's the quality of those segments, not the quantity. So I like the length of that. It wasn't too long. We obviously knew that MJF was going to be savage, but he was going after his mom, calling him War Pig, which is not that bad of a name. That's really not that insult. It's not the same as Piggy James, which was clearly fat shaming. So, but obviously Wardlow came out, handled business with security. MJF took off. Classic heel versus face scenario. And as far as I can remember, the only segment of the night, and it spoke so much about where that angle is going to go, because I'm almost going to backtrack on Wardlow's in on this. And he's trolling us, which I think what's going to happen, obviously, is we've never seen the Instagram photo of Wardlow is All Elite. He's always been under the MJF banner. So I think that MJF said, I'm going to pay you to stay home next week or within the next couple of weeks. Wardlow's going to have that AEW contract saying, you don't get to tell me what to do anymore. And then that's going to really ramp up the feud.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of building up to something like that. And, like you say, this was, I guess, a transitional kind of episode. And so for you, Matt, how was this episode of Dynamite for you? Did you feel that there was a lot of movement storyline-wise, or was it just kind of a passerby?
I wouldn't say it's a passerby. It's definitely not one of the better episodes overall. But one of the things that it does help us get to the point to where we need to be. That's one of the main things. Wardlow, they're building him up as that big baby face. I kind of like what Chris was saying. It's like it's kind of like an emancipation in a way. The emancipation of Mimi, the emancipation of Wardlow. A little bit of that instead.
Yeah, I mean, I've been calling this the $1 Million Man Virgil gimmick. It's literally just copied and pasted. I don't know who hasn't seen that angle from the early 90s in the Next Generation, but it was Virgil, who became Vincent eventually, was the butler to $1 Million Man, and he paid him with hundreds to just do whatever he wanted to. And then eventually the angle became Virgil was sick of it and he couldn't do anything about it. And then he finally got fed up, and then they had a feud where it was Virgil versus $1 Million Man. This is the same thing.
So Chris, you're saying that's like the OG version of like Shawn Michaels and Diesel, and then you have Batista and Evolution, and now brings us where.
I don't remember. I mean, I don't think Diesel was really like, he may have been like a henchman, but he wasn't like, I guess Wardlow is more of a henchman, yeah. But the Virgil thing was definitely like borderline racist. I don't want to overstep my bounds on opinion, but it definitely had those vibes.
It was a different time, though.
I don't think there's a time where racism was okay.
Well, I mean, it wasn't, but I feel like things were a little bit more allowed, I guess you could say, or things weren't.
Yeah, I mean, considering that pro wrestling didn't have many angles or stories or gimmicks before Vince came around, yeah, everything Vince was doing in the early 90s was very, very much the first of its kind. But the parallels of this are just like, yeah, the henchman's kind of sick of being told what to do, and now he's lashing out against the prick bad guy. And how long this storyline takes? I mean, MJF is always in a long program. The Jericho thing took a long time. The CM Punk thing took a long time. It's good to see that CM Punk may have sort of moved on a little bit from the angle. I definitely think AEW is pretty good at not overstaying its welcome with story. Just when you think it's gone on too long, you're like, oh, man, I can't take one more week of this. It's over. You're like, oh, thank God. So I'm cool with that. I can't not only wait to see what CM Punk's next feud is going to be, but the Wardlow thing, like, I don't know where it's going to go. It's him versus still 4 people. Yeah. So I don't know if he's going to enlist other people.
Did you get a
legal thing? That would be kind of cool.
Did you get a sense that MJF kind of teased another member to take his place?
If there was like a line or something, I didn't pick up on it. No. So if he said something like, "Oh, I've got backup" or some subtlety, I did not pick up on it.
He did. It's something somewhere. I not
exactly felt that way,
but it's just like oh, because we lost somebody doesn't mean we can't be at the top or whatever,
Right. Because they lost Tully Blanchard too, which obviously I think is just due to the touring schedule they're about to intake.
Yeah, or the theory of Bret Hart being the new guy for FTR, because a lot of the Bret Hart stuff was in that opening match with the sharpshooter and the Bret Hart shoes, and both CM Punk and Dax being huge Bret Hart fans alone. So that's probably a teaser for Bret Hart's debut, but. In addition to
that, like in-ring debut or
manager.
Here's hoping.
I was like, I'll get into the Sting thing after this, but I don't think Bret Hart's touching ropes again.
Because we do have Stone Cold and Sting, but I mean, heart problems are heart problems, So
pun intended. Yes.
Yeah. Heart problems, but I think this would also be a good, I guess, opportunity for Holiday or Hammerstone to also make a debut in there because, MJF's old accomplices, and I guess his girlfriend from MLW too, because he has his MLW stable is kind of like missing their people.
Hammerstone and Wardlow would be pretty cool. That would definitely be bringing in the Tank to fight another Tank for sure.
For those that's good.
You kind of briefly touched upon CM Punk. Who would you guys like to see him feud against next?
Chris?
I'm definitely trying to think. Andrade would be kind of cool. That would be a very good match. They'd have to obviously tie that storyline together somehow. I like that he's kind of just going up and down the roster a little bit. I mean, obviously he's keeping it within the pinnacle as far as this week he took on Dax. Next week he might take on the other guy with the mullet. That might be the thing. I don't know. There's no official, like, I want that guy like he did with, with MJF. So
I feel like maybe even Malachi. I don't know what Malachi Black is doing right now.
Right. They're in that thing with unless that's over.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's over. They didn't touch on that at all this week.
True. That they didn't touch upon that, and they didn't.
I feel like that is running a little long for sure.
Yeah.
So move that on. But then again, you're gonna have I guess CM Punk versus 3 people, and then what are you going to do? Just like get Sting and Darby as your backup? I mean, that just kind of seems who those guys are, obviously, because that's what the Hardys are doing right now with them. Is like, oh, we need backup. Let's just grab Sting and Darby. So, yeah, I think Andrade might be the only singles wrestler that's kind of available right now.
I'll say one last thing about
that's a heel.
I'll say one last thing about MJF real quickly. It's like, you know, if you saw him on MLW, I think it'd be just so funny if they, you know, if Hammerstone and Holiday come in, there was like a wish.com version of MJF, and his slogan is because he's greater than you and you think it. It's like the dollar store MJF guy. It's like a fake Diesel. It'd be kind of funny if they brought him in.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. It's like Johnny Hungy in a suit or something like that.
No, it was an actual guy though. On M.
Oh, there was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like an imitation MJF for some, because he's greater than you and you think it. I guess for CM Punk, Kenta is probably like the one everybody's waiting for, so we could get a GTS.
Yeah,
but then they might tie him back to. Isn't he? Who's his? Who is he directly tied to as a tag team partner? Is it Moxley? You're talking about Kenta Kobashi?
Kenta from New Japan.
New
right.
Japan. Yeah.
Doesn't he have like a? Is it Daniel Bryan? Is that his like other? Mm-mm. He has like a. They had like a tag team, right? Didn't he? Who am I thinking of?
Mm-mm.
Who's the good-looking guy with the emo haircut that does the flippy dips?
Kota.
That's what I'm thinking of. Kota. That's who I was thinking of.
That's
baby.
Yeah, that's the one with Kenny.
That's the one with Kenny. That's what I was thinking of.
What's up, Kofi?
Kofi Wheatston.
We live, baby. We're live.
But nice. I guess, you know, Okada and then Kenny Omega when he gets back. Malachi would be really fun though. It's just like a little bit of supernatural. I would say CM Punk is probably the most real, one of the most real characters on there, because he always like addresses real life situations and real life problems. And then Malachi, supernatural to the max, but he makes supernatural like in a realistic way, like gritty supernatural. So
he's the occult,
Hearing you say that, Matt, reminds me of Stone Cold and The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
You have the real guy, the Texas guy, right? And then the occult and supernatural with The Undertaker. You know, we could, you know, kind of see something along those lines if possible, right? That'd be fun.
You get a little bit of fantasy on the reality and a little bit of reality on the fantasy. I think they both could get, it's like a little bit of one flavor in here and a little bit of the other flavor in there. It's a new fusion. It's a fusion dish of wrestling.
It's Chicago and Dutch.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that. I don't even know what that is. Pizza and I don't know what's a Dutch food. So
a Danish.
Danish
Dutch pie. Yeah,
there we go. A Danish with pizza with a Chicago pizza on top.
Ooh, I love it. Please,
I love it. I'll actually do that.
Alrighty. So, what did you guys think about the Adam Cole Hangman situation? How's that storyline going for you guys?
I mean, what was the main event? Wasn't even. It was. I'm looking through the.
Oh yeah, the main event was Jericho and Daniel Garcia versus.
I'm sorry. I thought the Jay Lethal thing was the main event. It's over. Page 1. I don't know why this is still moving on to that direction. Jay Lethal stepped in, took the match.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Ivan. I was gonna surprise you with my new hairdo, but you know.
So I think that I don't like these rematch type deals. AEW doesn't really do that, where like the guy who loses the belt kind of or loses, you know, a title shot kind of gets to keep nagging on about it. You know, with Paige, it took him like every 6 months, every year, once a year for 3 years, he got a title shot essentially. So, I mean, obviously Adam Cole took the belt and like had it. And so, yeah, I don't know what they're doing with that. I like that they should keep Paige moving on to whoever would be next. That's what I like. I like a champion who just, you know,
all comers, man.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what I think they're developing. So I don't know what's next, unless it's going to be like, I I know we already saw, was it the Young Bucks and Paige team up against Adam Cole and Red Dragon? That was the thing I think happened recently. So maybe Dark Order is going to turn on Paige or something. It's I don't know. It's a lot of parts that are kind of like not moving for me. Like it's like a gear that's like not going like this. It's just kind of stuck right here.
Yeah, Chris, you really touched on something that's like, I noticed about, it's weird that they're doing this with Hangman instead, because with Moxley, when he was champion, usually after he defeats them, the feud's over. Like, why are they kind of having Adam Cole kind of hang around and just, hey, let me get another shot. Let me get you got any more of those title shots?
Yeah. It's very, I'm going to say this whenever something resembles it. I'm going to say it. It's very Vince, to have the challenger keep coming until he gets it.
Such good shit.
And obviously, psychology for a champion is that you always want the good guy to be chasing the belt. That's the story. But in this case, obviously, Hangman is the good guy. So in that sense, just have him keep defending against different people. Have him just check off the list of the top 10. So until this resolves with Adam Cole and then the Red Dragon thing with the Young Bucks and the Dark Order, and obviously the Dark Order had a program, so versus Jericho and Garcia. So it's like
maybe
Adam, maybe Paige and Jericho might be in the future. I don't know. It's just
rematch.
It's like a lot of like dice on the ground, and I'm like picking up like random numbers of shit.
I will say that CM Punk did make a gesture around his waist, right? I kind of forgot about that.
They didn't know what belt.
At this point, it could be the FTW title.
Yeah, it could be the Jade Cargill. It could be next.
The TBS title, right?
That'll be interesting. That would get everybody talking. I know
Scorpio and CM Punk would have a great match. Just not yet. And I only mean that because you don't want either one of them to lose just yet. You don't want Scorpio to lose the belt after a week. You don't want CM Punk to take a loss already. So I think that keep them separate for a little bit. And obviously I wouldn't be mad if Paige beat CM Punk just because I want people to respect him more. That might do it, but that'll also get a lot of heat on him. So it might backfire. It might be the Roman Reigns effect or the John Cena effect, which we're kind of in that territory with Paige right now. The music comes on, people like it when he says shit, and that kind of seems about it.
Don't we all? Go ahead. Sorry, man.
Chris, I wouldn't actually put that out of the realm of possibility. The CM Punk facing Jade Cargill. Like, she did say she was a big fan of China. I know it's really out there. It's crazy. It would get everybody talking though. And the other thing is
thank you for reminding me. Continue. I got something.
Yeah, she's a big fan of China, so that it's a possibility. I'd be like, whoa, that's out there.
There hasn't been any intergender. There's been intergender matches, but there hasn't been like, we're not getting like Baron Corbin hitting end of days on Becky Lynch type shit that I can remember. And goddamn, did I love that spot? That was fantastic. That made me jump out of my seat when I saw that. And that was the last time anyone ever cheered for Baron Corbin.
we look back. Chris Jericho's one of his first intercontinental feuds was with China, and now Chris Jericho.
They had a fucking legit match. Like I remember that. I think beat him for the belt, didn't she?
Yeah, there were co-intercontinental champions. They had to share it.
Yeah.
And Jericho could get Jericho.
That was the Attitude Era. That was the end of the Attitude Era where they were like, we got to keep, turning the temperature up on this shit. So I don't know what the vibes are over at the, TBS and TNT. They have board meetings.
Because they could get Jericho to agent the match because he has experience. He's the one. He was in that angle. They could get him to agent it and know how to kind of present it in a certain way. So, you don't know what these veterans are like. I had no idea Christopher Daniels was the head of was the VP of talent relations until recently. And like everything's starting to make sense. I'm like, oh, that's why Jay White showed up, because Christopher Daniels faced Jay White 3 days before he showed up on AEW. So I'm like, okay.
And what happened with that? like we haven't heard or seen from Jay White in AEW for a
He's
few weeks
busy,
now.
and the storyline's over an Impact, so he's facing
Mm.
Chris Sabin. So that's over there. There's a like Gorillas of Destiny or Good Guys. There's a big that's in the New Japan world at the moment, and it could spill over easily because the Bucks are part of it somewhat. I mean, Adam Cole said once you're Bullet Club for life, and Adam Cole showed his loyalty. So it could be, I mean, they could either reject the Bucks or, continue their membership, either or. Good Brothers are still cool with the Bucks. So,
Yeah.
They got that faction has 3 tag teams. If you
That's
include
crazy, yeah. And you guys touched upon immediate rematches and the potential of that sort of thing happening. What did you guys think about Sammy Guevara and the whole Scorpio Sky thing? Do you think there's going to be a rematch there? And should there be?
They didn't mention it too much. Yeah. They kind of seemed to have strayed away from that and moved right to the American Top Team angle. And I've also realized that I've never really heard Sammy Guevara talk. He usually does the checkerboards. I've heard him speak a little bit, like with Jericho interviews and stuff. But yeah, like
not on the mic.
Yeah, like he never actually gave, like, as far as I know, like an actual like promo like this was. So that's kind of cool to see. He's a natural at it, which is crazy because he's super good at everything else. I like that they're addressing this online relationship, real life relationship with him and Tay Conti. That's going to have to lead to a intergender tag match and then a singles match. We're going to have to get Sammy and Tay versus Paige and Ethan Page, I guess, would be the other person because Austin, her husband, isn't a pro wrestler yet. Right. And then, after that, then you're going to get Paige versus Tay Conti in a singles match, which I'm excited to see how good Paige Van Zandt is in the ring. She's naturally talented. She, cheerleader background evolved into professional kickbox to fighting. She wasn't that bad of a fighter. She was just in a ocean of killers. She had some highlight reel knockouts, but she ran into Rose Namajunas, and she's the best in the world. So yeah, I mean, and then obviously Tay has an MMA background. She's a black belt. She has a Dan in judo. She has Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So if they play to that angle, it could be a very good match. I'm very excited to see how
a little bit of a work shoot.
Yeah, it would definitely be like early Pancrase, where it was definitely like the old Inoki fights, where it was like people were like, "Is this real? Is this pro wrestling?" I don't know.
Set up an octagon like Hager and Wardlow, right?
Or like Owen Hart and Ken Shamrock.
Oh, there you go.
the Lions Den match from 1997, 98. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I guess this is AEW. You could look at it as AEW's chance to get in on some of that the whole Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler flavors. Like, we've got our MMA girls, you got your MMA girls.
Yeah,
but our MMA girls, we got a different flavor of MMA girl over here.
Yeah, definitely, because Paige is not Ronda by any stretch. As good as Paige is, she's but yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on that angle. I think that the Scorpio Sky thing is he's going to move on. I don't know who's next unless it's CM Punk or whoever else wants to be in that division as a singles. Maybe Jungle Boy would be cool. He's obviously tied up with tag champs, so doors wide open on honestly who Paige is going to Adam Page versus whoever, and then Scorpio versus I have no idea.
Yeah, or maybe have something like the Open Challenge come back. But I guess him being a heel champion might not lend itself to something like that.
Right.
So there's that. But yeah.
Well, let's see here. One thing I want to bring up. This is hilarious. I have to say this sentence. I'm going to say this sentence. Did Vicky Guerrero hit Thunder Rosa with a "Go Back to Mexico" speech?
Yes.
Did that happen? I can't believe.
Oh, that happened.
That is so funny. That is the funniest shit I'd ever heard. I was like, she just did that. Yet she represents like Nyla Rose, who's Canadian. So it's like, it's just funny. I know Eddie grew up in Mexico, but lived in El Paso, I believe. I think Vicky also kind of had the same life. It's just That's funny, but we're getting Thunder Rosa versus Nyla, I think, is the angle, and that's going to be kind of cool. I think Thunder takes that. I think she's going to hold the belt for a while. That's pretty much my opinion about it. I hate Vicky Guerrero, but that's because she does her job so well. Jungle Boy sucks. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I probably. I don't. She ended racist. She ended racism with that speech. That's the way to put it. I mean, I don't think I would be okay with saying that on live TV, right, Kofi? Would that be not chill?
That's a bit touchy, I'll tell you what.
It's like, Chris, it's like if you telling another white guy.
Hey, careful what you're about to say. Go back to Ireland.
Yeah.
Go back to Europe.
Yeah, same thing.
Gosh. Yeah, I know. That was a wild sentence. So I was just like, did that just happen?
But how do you guys feel about Nyla Rose going again for the title?
God, fuck, there's no one else. I mean, Serena Deeb's in the TV. She's in the TBS division technically. The Layla Hirsch angle, which is confusing to me because I thought Velvet Rose was a heel, but then and then there was an angle a couple weeks ago where like Layla Hirsch was saying that Chris Statlander said some messed up stuff to her, which makes Chris Statlander the bad guy. But then Layla Hirsch wrestles like a heel, so I'm like,
right? It's
who's the actual fucking heel? Like, isn't Velvet Rose or Velvet Sky? What's her name?
Red Velvet.
Red Velvet. Who's Velvet Sky?
Yes.
I don't want to know.
Impact, from what I remember.
Yeah. Okay.
She's yeah.
But didn't she do some heel shit a couple weeks ago where like she turned on somebody? I don't know.
She kind of looked. She looked.
I feel like she gave like a bad girl speech, and then so I don't know what's going on with this weird triage angle here. I don't know who the bad guy is because I definitely think it's Layla Hirsch.
It should be. So, it was. That's how all this started, right? And that's how it should stay, unless there's like a big swerve. So we haven't been given that.
No one ever swerves into being a good guy. No one's ever like, you know. I mean, with like, it's usually a slow process. Like they come to their senses over time to be the good guy. Where when someone becomes the bad guy, it's at the drop of a hat. It's it's a chair shot to the back. It's a diamond ring to the face. It's a low blow where no one's ever like, surprise, I'm going to help the good guys out of nowhere. It doesn't happen that way. So
Chris, arguably Eddie Kingston, you could kind of consider that Eddie Kingston over Moxley moment because Eddie Kingston was like feuding with Moxley before that kind of thing. So that's considered. Thoughts on the?
He didn't make like a drop of the hat decision like heels.
Yeah,
heels.
There's always some past. Usually a quick babyface turn is always due to like past events, but those past events could be like 3 years ago.
Right. So that to me is it's a working up to where it's not like with the bad guy, it's like you didn't see it coming, but with the good guy thing, you don't see it coming because it never happens. I haven't asked a question. It was thoughts on Mox, William, and Daniel, new faction name? No idea. Is there a new faction name they're talking about?
I believe it was the Blackpool Country Club? No.
The country.
That's not it.
BCCC?
The Blackpool.
That's probably what Jim Cornette
BCC, the big black car. No. No, that's not it either. No, that's a Cody thing.
That's what Jim Cornette would call it, though. The Blackpool Country Club.
I mean, considering only one person in that group is from Blackpool, I don't dig it very much.
Not at all. It's you got a guy from Washington and the other one from Cincinnati. It's not. Doesn't go
wherever Wheeler Yuta might be from.
AEW Fight Club, maybe something though.
I think
like Blackpool is like not a bad name if it was like. Who are the other two guys that used to be in Imperium that were from? Birch and Danny Birch, and then there was another English guy. That would be cool. That would be a cool name for like a English team, but not when you have like 3 Americans and like a dude from the UK.
Do you guys think Wheeler Yuta is going to be in it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he seems. They got to give him a little bit more flavor. There's only so much you could do.
They're going to put a mean streak on him because he's a jobber. He's like one of the only jobbers that's ever on Dynamite.
New coat of paint too. They got to give him a new coat of paint.
Yeah, he actually talked. He said words. I've never heard him speak at all until last night, where he said something to Trent Seven
I think they'll build up this faction to be. I think this is the best tag team to go against Kenny Omega, Blackpool Combat Club. But
There
Is
it
that what,
is.
is that what they
This is-
said?
for me, yeah.
Okay.
So for me,
I don't hate that. That's fine. It's a lot of syllables. Whatever.
So for me, I think this would be good for the perfect tag team for the Golden Lovers to face. Kind of like it was like Benoit and Jericho versus Power Trip. I'm getting very strong Power Trip vibes from this.
Oh, definitely.
Was Power Trip? Was that Adam?
Triple H and Stone Cold.
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Wrath.
He's thinking about the band.
Oh, I'm thinking of that shitty the WCW tag team that had Adam Bomb. He became Wrath, and then the other guy. I gotta find out what that was called.
Yeah,
It was the 2-man Power Trip, from what I remember.
Yeah, 2-man Power Trip versus the Golden Lovers, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. This because Moxley and Kenny have their history, and then Kenny could be the baby face and Moxley could be the heel, and everybody will be like, it'll be a pretty good 4-way tag because I don't think they've gone up against like heels this vicious because they're feeding babyface tag teams to them like delicious.
Stop with that.
Yeah, like delicious meals, that we'll be saying what's up with that. Yo.
Okay, Ivan just told me how to do that, and I think that was a mistake in his part because now I'm gonna go crazy with it.
Yeah,
nuts. Local.
But yeah, I mean, wait, what were we talking about again? Wheeler Yuta? No.
Yeah, joining the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, I can dig it. Yeah, I mean, we need someone that the faces are going to end up beating up so they can get to Mox and Danielson, something like that. And honestly, for Wheeler Yuta, I don't know. For me, I think he didn't fit Best Friends that well. That's just my opinion. I think that he's better off doing something like this. Maybe we could, like you say, get a mean streak going and more aggression, ruthless.
And to be honest, Best Friends is not only getting a little too big, but a little too like who's
Random.
in the group, who's hanging out. Obviously, we got Downison. So replace Downison in Wheeler Yuta out, kind of keep it cohesive. Chris Statlander kind of still is in Best Friends, so it's it's a very loose like freaks and geeks kind of faction. It's kind of like the oddities. It's like who's around, who's kind of weird. They can kind of hang out with the Best Friends.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so for Wheeler Yuta, for him to be serious, he definitely has to separate himself from what is definitely I'd say comedy gimmick. At least it's a good time faction, I guess.
All right. Any final thoughts on the episode of AEW Dynamite? Any overall thoughts?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the Sting thing. Sting is the only wrestler I can think of off the top of my head who is a mega legend, megastar, super legend, who has done it all. He's done everything there ever is to do. Besides, like winning WrestleMania, shit like that, whatever. Who goes from being a AAA level famous megastar, who is now in this new part of his career after 20 years of not going in the ring. I think that Triple H match before he was in AEW might have been his last match, and that was like, what was it, like 2007, some shit like that. Who has now become an indie darling. He's living this whole new life, like he's 20. His spot last week was wild. I watched that from the fan angle. Someone had their cell phone camera out and got it from the balcony jumping down. That was even crazier than the top down angle. I was like, holy shit, that dude's 70. Starting off that match last night, off the top rope to the outside spot. He's never done anything like that I can think of off the top of my head. This is crazy that Sting's like, is Sting going to get back in the ring? He's got a bad neck. He's got a bad back. He's old. To doing Jeff Hardy spots, which Jeff Hardy spot on the ladder off the balcony in the terrace. Holy shit to that. He only hit like
Yes.
he hit like 30% of that on target. Jeff Hardy cannot be killed by conventional weapons. And Sting has got this weird second life that I'm adoring right now because he is just living his best life in this company. Just everything he has left, he's given to the fans, and it's crazy to see. I have no thoughts on Cody signing with WWE. I definitely think he's going to fight or wrestle Seth Rollins WrestleMania, and no one's going to care. There you go. Sorry, that was a question Ivan dropped.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Ivan C is here, actually.
Those are my thoughts on Sting, man. Like, he's pushing the limits, and that fucking Darby Allin spot. Why did that have to happen? A powerbomb, like monkey flip down the staircase. Come on, man. Like, whatever. It's fine. It wasn't as bad as putting him in the body bag and throwing him down all of the stairs.
Oh,
but
my
like,
goodness.
fucking hell, bro. Like,
it's
all right,
like. You gotta feel that he's got to wake up with some pain here and there.
He's gonna have a fucking oxy addiction before he's 30 for sure.
I know. I want my dream match is Kenny versus Sting, and I've been kind of like praying for that one since even before both Sting and Kenny were signed to AEW. That's like I said that would be the match to get me back into wrestling. But just because I hoped for it when AEW was announced, and now not only is it possible, it seems inevitable at this point in time. Right. So that's my thoughts on Sting and all. I get to see the match of my dreams. I don't. If wrestling disappeared from the planet Earth, which of course will never happen. If it disappeared from the planet Earth after the Sting versus Kenny Omega match, I wouldn't be that upset if it happened like a minute after, like wrestling just poof and disappeared a minute after that match was over.
Sting looked very spry. He was hitting those stinger splashes, on the inside, on the outside, up against the barricade. I think that Kenny would have to slow down a little bit, obviously, to carry that match and tell that story. But that could be a match that I think both of them can kind of meet in the middle and would be pretty decent. It wouldn't be Kenny's best, but it might be Sting's.
Have we seen Sting in a one-on-one match so far in AEW?
Only a regular tag match. Only a regular.
Yeah, he's been in group efforts, which I think a lot of that is it buys him time to, let's say his cardio may not be great, or maybe his injuries just need to be a little bit more careful with. I think that helps kind of buy him that time where, he can powder out, he can relax, he can come in, save the 3 count, which is what he's been doing a lot, is kind of just saving Darby's ass a little bit and vice versa. So I like it. I like that he's risking it all because he's only got like probably 2 years left, honestly, as far as like jumping off his shit like he's New Jack, which is the sentence of the century.
For me personally, it's like a lot of people I remember had a lot of questions, especially coming into AEW and when his first match was announced, like, will he be okay? Is this too risky and stuff like that? But he's been, like you say, he's been super impressive with what he's been able to do in the ring. And honestly, I can't think of another wrestler that has had such a resurgence at this late of a career, I don't think Hogan had that or anybody else.
I mean, I could definitely highlight matches. Hogan versus The Rock is Hogan's best match of all time. And a lot of that was The Rock, but a lot of that was definitely Hogan. Obviously, Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, I'm Sorry I Love You match. Ric Flair's best match of all time, in my opinion, and also up there with one of Shawn's greatest matches. Things that Edge is doing now is pretty great. Obviously, Edge is a lot younger than both of those guys were on their returns, I think. I don't know.
Oh wait, hold on. Mr. Ivan C had a question. Should they have Darby and Sting versus the Hardys before Double or Nothing? They should have it at there.
I don't know. Mixed, because Darby, you see it on Darby's face. The fanboy is not being hidden with him. When Jeff Hardy came out last week, or whatever week that was, where he came in for the save, I loved the look on Darby's face. It was just.
I think I'd prefer a one-on-one Jeff versus Darby. That'd be more kind of.
Do you want the first AEW death, bro?
They'll keep it within human means. Maybe they should do some more grappling. Maybe surprise everybody. rather than high flying, because Darby could grapple and Jeff can grapple. You know, they could roll. You know, they got experience.
What Ivan brought up, I was thinking about that a little bit with Terry Funk. But yeah, Terry Funk kind of always sort of was a grimy hardcore guy, and he wasn't a mega star, although he was a huge star in the territories. Sting is up there with Hogan as far as like icons go. Obviously, no one's Hogan. But this would definitely be like Hogan coming back and just like doing the same shit. Like Hogan's biggest bump, I think, was off the cage in like 1987, and it was not even off the cage. It was like the second rope. And I think it was like a Macho Man suplex him or something. I saw footage of it on like somewhere. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know Hogan took a bump like that. Yeah, I mean, this is to me, I'm a fan. It's cool. I like to see. I don't know what's next for Sting, but I'm totally into it.
All right. Facebook user AEW versus the AEW DDT partnership. That
might be Leo. I don't know. If you're on Facebook, we don't get to see your name. So if you want to ask your question and then tag your name, if you don't want to be anonymous, we'd love to know who you are because we are fans of our fans.
You know,
absolutely.
I watched only just last night. I watched the Tokyo Joshi pay-per-view, and there was definitely a lot of AEW references. Hikaru Shida faced this girl named Hikari Noah, and it was like a master and student type of match, and she could come in for Hikari Noah didn't seem like she was taking the loss in a sportsmanship way, so she could come in and help Serena Deeb at any time. And you know I was kind of telling you guys about this girl. Her name is Hyper Misao. She's sort of like, you know, what's her name, the superhero girl in WWE.
Nikki Ash.
Nikki Ash. She's like, you could say she's like the Nikki Ash of DDT.
Oh, I see her now. She looks like the Hurricane.
Yeah, and Hurricane actually like retweeted her.
Oh, wait, hold on. Where is it?
With that.
Exactly. Exactly. So the funny thing about Hyper Misao is that at the pay-per-view, one of her heroes, this old Japanese wrestler dude with a beard, came to the ring dressed as her, but not wearing her outfit, but like he painted his body like hers.
Okay.
You know?
That's hot.
Yeah, so we could have like ridiculous, awesome stuff like that happening at like any second, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like outrageous things, though. I know you guys aren't too familiar with DDT. It's definitely worth a watch. All the idea for Stadium Stampede, like matches like Stadium Stampede, are inspired by, you know, the kind of things that go on in DDT. You know, so it's got its comedy section, but it has a great like serious section. You know, I don't know. Whatever thoughts, if you don't have that much to say about it.
Well, as for me, you know, any collaborations, I'm all about Forbidden Door sort of stuff. It opens the door for me, at least as a American centric fan, I guess, to really, you know, kind of check out what else is out there. I names like, you know, I can think of so many others like that have come across AEW that now I'm like, oh, that's that person, and that person is in that federation. Yeah,
who's dark, our boy Danny Limelight even shouts him out constantly.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course.
So.
And you know, like Maki Ito, right? You know, now I know, right? There you go, and right, so all that good stuff. You know, so many people that have come across. So when it comes to collaboration, I'm all for it, man. Definitely.
Chris,
I don't have much time to watch a lot of Japanese wrestling right now, so I only watch highlights and what you talk about on the show. Not that I don't want to. I love watching Wrestle Kingdom. I'll watch major, you know, WrestleMania-esque hyper pay-per-views. But as far as like what's going on over there, I only know because it's coming through the doors.
I guess the music video, you know, those music video match compilation thingies, you know, I think those are
like when you bring up somebody like with Maki Ito, when I wasn't familiar, I watched like highlight reels. And stuff like
that's
that.
That's the best way nowadays. You know, music.
Like I just watched 15 minutes of the Meltzer driver. Like I literally was like, how many different ways can they do this? I was like, oh Jesus.
Chris,
like,
what do you think of maybe putting a highlight video to some Fate Destroyed music?
Hey, I like that.
I mean, we have a tour package video put out for the song "Let's Crash," which is on YouTube right now. Fate Destroyed on YouTube. It's official YouTube channel now, so there is a tour package video. So that kind of exists already. And our new single "Mutation" drops April 15th. Kicks off our Exorcism tour with Living Dead Girl, running April. I think official first date is the 12th in Denver and ends on the 30th, opening for the Convalescents. So shameless self-promotion.
No, not that's great, and it kind of opens a question for me, because for you, and I've dabbled a little bit with going on the road sort of thing, but you're doing it in a much grander level where for you now going through this. How would you compare that, or as far as like a wrestler, how they do things going down the road, or like, do you see any similarities that they might go through?
I don't think an indie wrestler will have 30 matches in 30 days at 30 different venues.
Injury, body.
Yeah, I'm very certain that that's not particularly a thing. Although, with WWE and bigger promotions, they are constantly on the road for years on end. So that's definitely a different animal. So I don't know what comparisons there are other than you just have to be on top of your schedule and you're driving and you're sleeping and just being somewhere on time and making sure you get paid.
Eating birdseed.
Birdseed? What the fuck? I'm vegan. I'm not
chicken. Oh wait, yes, that's right. I was gonna say chicken sandwiches, but yeah,
or sunflower seeds.
There's alternatives. I got things figured out. Especially
chewing them and throwing them out the window to keep you awake. I don't know. I saw that.
No, I get coffee at Love's every night after a show. Coffee keeps me up for like 6 hours straight, which is why I drink before I go to work, which is happening very soon. Nice. But yeah, I mean, I can't compare the two as far as like on the indie level. I'm sure it's not, it's probably fun, but I don't think the travel schedule is as hectic as a touring band. And then I don't think that the touring band schedule is as hectic as a major star running 365 days a year.
Cool. Awesome, man. All righty. Well, any more thoughts on AEW wrestling going on right now? Any other thoughts, guys?
I got the list of what happened last night. I don't really think there's anything else much. Like the tag titles, Jurassic Express has those. I definitely think that the Gun Club is getting those next. Ivan brought up the Hardy Boys versus Jungle Express. I don't think that's happening anytime soon. We're not going to have face versus face until the whole. They're obviously involved in different angles right now. Hardys are still dealing with Private Party. Darby Allin and Sting are still dealing with whatever they're dealing with. The Gun Club is dealing with, I guess, Jungle Express, which is weird that they have this Moxley match because that wasn't resolved. So yeah, pretty much it was like you said, it was a passing episode. Not a lot moved forward in way of storyline, and we still have a lot of questions left to be answered.
Yes, sir. Matt?
Overall, there was some segments on the show I wasn't 100% for, but like I wasn't the most crazy about. I just kind of forwarded. I didn't hate them, but I could go without them. But for the most part, I'd probably give the episode, maybe like a 6.8 out of 10, or maybe a 7.
I'd say a pretty solid C plus in my opinion. C average at best. Nothing was bad. They fit a lot of content in.
Yeah.
There was a lot of content, not a lot of it. None of it really dragged. It was just a showcase, pretty much. It wasn't like I said, there was very few chapter turns or page turns on this one. So,
yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing what's next. And of course, thank you everybody for joining us from Mr. MGC, from Mr. Chris Kennedy, and from, yes, yours truly, Mr. Mike Lopez. I just want to thank everybody that came by.
Undisputed, the unrivaled, living 10 billion miles away from the sun. I'm making it the sun instead of Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Well, we are literally 93 million miles away exact from the sun. So
yes. Any closer, and then we would need sunscreen and all
SPF
that.
5 million. To quote
Sarah Connor,
to quote Sarah Connor from Terminator 2.
Money. Mike Lopez. I have to do that for just
Oh, I appreciate it, sir.
In honor of our friend who's he went to that place up there, North Hollywood.
Wait, what? Oh,
I live in North Hollywood. What's happening?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But yeah, so anything you guys want to plug? I know Chris has Fate Destroyed coming up. Big things going on there. Absolutely. Chris, I mean, MGC, anything going on? What's going on in MGC world right now?
Oh yeah, the Pantheon, and you can follow me on Instagram, the God of Music _MGC. Stay updated. I'm talking about I'm watching American Song Contest, and that's pretty cool. It's like the USA's answer to Eurovision. So not too related to wrestling, but hey, that's it's interesting. I didn't think we'd ever have an American Eurovision. So I'm really surprised at the mix of major international recording artists and people that play to 3 people in a dive bar at the same time. They're on the same bill. Michael Bolton and an unknown guy.
Me.
Cisco. Yeah, exactly. It's everybody.
Cool.
So it's definitely something you gotta check. It's every genre too. So a metal band's won Eurovision before, so everything.
Yeah, metal is huge in Europe. It I know that the Billboard, let's say the top 5 Billboard in Europe, could be Taylor Swift, Meshuggah, Britney Spears, Cradle of Filth. It's pretty balanced as far as it's not pop centric or, in my opinion, kind of rigged for the pop world out there. So there's a band that I think won Eurovision. I forget what they're called, but they do a war gimmick. Where they're all Lordi. Fucking Lordi. That's it. Nailed it.
With Hard Rock Hallelujah. They won Eurovision.
That's it. They fucking won an American Idol as a black metal band with fucking masks.
Holy crap.
Yeah. The more recent winner of Eurovision is Maneskin. They're an Italian hard rock band, and they won the Eurovision 2020 or 2019. It was one of the two. And
Lordi
now they're
on Eurovision, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm surprised I knew that, and thank you for telling me the name because I could not think of that.
Mm-hmm. And it's a pretty interesting mix of people. They got Cisco, Macy Gray, Crystal Method, Jewel, and then Michael Bolton. Those are the major international names, and then everybody else is just relatively unknown. At the same time, you have people play dive bars representing their home states. I forgot the California's representative. I've never heard of them. So it's a pretty fun one. So I'll just leave you guys with that.
Cool, man. Awesome episode, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, hit the bell, all that great stuff. Yes, absolutely. You want to. So catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you then.
I love Virgil's. Black Cherry Virgil's is the best.
Good night. Good night.